Hey guys, this is the puzzle player back rating blox fruits, but specifically blox fruits that I would use in the first C. So, we're going to be rating all of them based on how good I think they are. So, let's get this started. The first fruit we're going to do is the rocket fruit. So, if I'm being honest, I kind of think that it's just kind of trash. It's good for a first part of the first C, but then it kind of gets trash. The next fruit we have is the blade fruit. Now, me personally, I think that this fruit is really good for grinding. It has good M1s, good MOEs, or whatever they're called. The next fruit we have is spin. Spin is absolute trash, along with spring. They both deal terrible damage. They both suck for moving around. They both don't have M1s. The next fruit we have is the bomb fruit. After the bomb rework, I'd say that it's not bad. It's decent. And then the best out of the common fruits is the smoke fruit. Because it's a Logia, has good AoE attacks, so overall, just the best fruit. And just so you guys know, I will be having one in every single category. So, the next fruit we have is the spike fruit, and all I need to say is that the spike fruit needs a rework. The next fruit we have is the flame fruit, and it's not bad. I'll give it that. It doesn't have M1s, and some of the moves send opponents flying, but it's a Logia, so you can't take damage from non-hockey users. So that bumps it up to really good. And then the ice fruit. Out of all of the uncommons, it has an M1, it has decent AoE, it can freeze opponents, that is M1s, definitely the best fruit out of the uncommons. And then the next fruit we have is the pancake fruit sand. With the sand fruit, it's kind of trash, just doesn't have very good moves. The next fruit we have is dark. Dark is absolutely trash. It's worse than... The only reason why I'm saying it's kind of trash is because at least it has a flight. So dark doesn't have a flight at all. And then the next fruit we got is the eagle fruit. I'd say that the eagle fruit's pretty good. It's better with the upgrades, but for first C, it's a pretty good fruit. The next fruit we have is the diamond fruit. It's not bad. It kind of sends you flying everywhere, and the moves aren't very good AoE. Now we're moving on to the rares. For our first rare, we got the light fruit, the first of the rares. And I'd say that this is probably the best fruit for grinding in the first C. It has AoE, M1s, and it's a Logia. So, except it's better than ice because it can fly. So, the next fruit that we have is rubber. It is absolutely trash. We need a rubber rework. The next fruit that we got is the ghost fruit. The ghost fruit at least gives you a second life. It has very high mastery requirements. So, that's all I'm going to say about it. The next fruit we got is the magma fruit. The magma fruit is decent. The F move can at least deal some pretty good damage, but it's not good unawakened. Now we're moving on to the legendaries. The first legendary that we have is Quake. It is trash. The moves are terrible. The best move is the V, and that takes a ton of mastery requirements. And then everything's just terrible about Quake. The next fruit that we have is Buddha. Hold up really quick. Just add a row above. So, we're going to I accidentally made those. So we are going to make a new one, and we are just going to label it Buddha. That's all we need to know. We have a separate tier for Buddha, and that is exactly where it deserves to be, above everything else. The next fruit that we have is the love fruit. Meh. I mean, it has decent damage at least. Then we have the creation fruit. it's not bad. The fruit itself is terrible, but the M1 can at least kind of protect you. Then we got the spider fruit. It's trash. Nothing else needs to be said. They had to give it an awakening, and it's still trash. The next fruit we have is the sound fruit. And I'd say that this fruit is really good for the first sea. Does really good damage. The next fruit that we have is the phoenix fruit. I'd say that it's kind of trash. Doesn't really have any good moves for anything in the first sea. Not even an M1. And when it does get an M1 in the second and third sea, it's trash. Plus, you need 400 mastery just to even awaken it. So, I kind of regret doing that on a different account. The next fruit that we have is the portal fruit. And it's trash. Now, don't get mad at me. I'm rating these based off of the first sea. So, the next fruit that we got is the lightning fruit. I'd say that this is one of the best fruits to grind with in the first sea for the legendaries. Just because it has good AoE, the M1s are really good, so I'd say I use it. The pain fruit is also one of the best fruits for grinding out of the legendaries. It has, once again, good AoE, not too much knockback, and it has a revive, which when you revive, grants you more damage. The next fruit that we have is the blizzard fruit, which is not bad. It gets carried by the F move, so if you don't have that, it kind of sucks. Now, the last tier of fruits, the mythical fruits. So, we have the gravity fruit, which I'm going to say is not bad. Could be better, but it's the first sea, so. Then, next fruit we have is the mammoth fruit, which is absolute trash to grind with. No, it's just terrible. No M1s, high mastery requirements, and it's just hard to use. The next fruit we have is the T-Rex fruit, which I'd say is really good. It has good M1s, and if you get the transformation, it leaves the predator mark so that you can kind of deal damage even when you're not hitting them. And then the next fruit that we have is the dough fruit, which I'm only going to say is kind of trash. It sucks unawakened, but at least it's a Logia, so it's harder to get hit. Next fruit we have is the shadow fruit. I only have one thing to say. Shadow rework when we need it. The next thing we have is the venom fruit, which is not bad. Not bad at all. It leaves the poison on the ground, so it's pretty good. The next fruit we have is the control fruit, and with the recent rework, it's now really good to grind with, and just really good in general. Next fruit we have is the gas fruit, which I'd say is one of the best fruits to grind with in the first sea, just because it has M1s and it's a Logia. That's all you really need in the first sea. Next fruit we have is spirit, and when are we getting a spirit rework? Like, seriously. The next fruit we have is the leopard fruit. So, we are going to go ahead. Well, it isn't the leopard fruit. I'm pretty sure it's tiger now. And I think that I'm going to put it not bad. I haven't really seen too much content with it, so I can't remember if it has M1s or not. So, it's either between here and here. So, I'm just going to put it in not bad. And if you guys disagree, leave it down in the comments. So, the next fruit we have is the Yeti. I can't say that it's as good as the tiger fruit or the leopard, whichever you guys prefer. So I'm going to put it in kind of trash just because it has super AoE, but actually I'm going to put it in not bad just because it's decent damage. So, now we're going to put Kitsune in the best fruit along with Dragon. But in my opinion, Dragon West is better than Dragon East. And if you disagree with me, tell me in the comments, and I don't care. So, now we have finished our list. Thank you for watching, and this is the Puzzle Player, signing off.